Think dissipations are coming little, I think, after 9, right?
Generally, they join Prabhuji, but today it's late.
Is it Santanu Nandi Prabhuji? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Okay, so 20, so it is 9, so let's start in time. Is my screen visible?
Yes,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna. So this is what I was realizing, that even the cursor is not, if cursor is idle, then the picture will go. So that is equivalent to our Nama Kirtana. If it is not going on, then the devotion will go. So everything is visible. The screen is visible. Voice is okay. Video is okay. Everything is okay, Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. उमज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यो एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमो। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमद्भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद सद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा। So let's start. Let us have a good, exciting, and energetic Hare Krishna. Even we are two-person, no people, no issue. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. So we in fact yesterday we started with this. We completed just maybe one slide and then we moved on. That is about three types of karma. That is from 4.16 to 24. This is action, forbidden action, and inaction, or rather, we can say karma, vikarma, and akarma. In fact, I think when I was asking about this question, that what is this, so particularly on akarma, one answer was coming that akarma is, similar to inaction and also is similar to expecting no result from the action. But I think one clarification which was there at that point of time was that yes, that is called niskama karma. However, niskama karma is the just the last but one platform to a karma. So if we look at the yoga ladder, then it starts with sakama karma, right? Niskama karma immediately doesn't come. So so we proceed with the further strengthening the definitions better. So karma is action which are performed in terms of one's prescribed duties, as mentioned in the revealed scriptures, primarily Vedas, and vikarma, actions which are performed by the misuse of one's freedom. So if there is a little bit of freedom which is given, and using that little bit of freedom, then we start doing whatever is there. In fact, you know, It's not that only the abominable acts are the vikarmas. That there can be vikarmas which are not prescribed in the scripture. So that there are many, and in particular, if we say when we say that Vedai Sarvai Aham Eva Vedyaha, that means the ultimate aim of Veda is to know Krishna. So if we are not in Krishna consciousness, which is supposed to be the only knowledge which is to be taken from Vedas, then anything outside of the Krishna consciousness becomes vikarma by that definition. So let us look at with this lens as well. Then akarma for actions which free us from the cycle of birth and death, old disease, I mean, from this entire cycle. So going ahead, king karma किम अकर्मेति कवयोपि अत मोहितः तत्ते कर्म प्रवक्ष्यामि यज्ञात्वा मोक्षसे शुभात्. Even the intelligent are bewildered in determining what is action, what is inaction. Nor I shall explain to you now. I shall explain to you what action is, knowing which you shall be liberated from all misfortune. So knowledge is important. This chapter is chapter 4, which is transcendental knowledge. Transcendental knowledge can be received only through parampara, through guru. And here Arjuna's guru is Krishna, and the knowledge is directly coming to him about karma, about vikarma, as well as about akarma. Let's see what he's saying once again. So karmana hi api bodhavyam cha vikarmana akarmanascha bodhavyam gahana karmano gatihi. So which are to be bodhavyam or which are to be understood? Karmana hi bodhavyam, then vikarma bodhavyam, then karma bodhavyam, because karmana gahana gati, because it is very the path of karma is very difficult to understand. It's very gahana. So that is what it is now saying, that the intricacies of the action are very hard to understand. Therefore, one should know properly what action is, what forbidden action is, and what inaction is, or in other words, what is karma is, what vikarma is, and what karma is. And karmanaha gahana gati. When we are saying karmana gahana gati, we always try to understand that the same question which comes time and again is that why good things happen, why bad things happen to good people, why everything somebody is having doing all bad, but still some good is happening in this life, because we do not know what was his previous life. Somebody who is in absolutely good position today, having doing all the bad deeds, so to say, maybe he has got a wonderful sanchita karma. So that is quite possible. And from which life it is coming also, it is not sure, because the dispensation of the karma is not necessarily will happen in one life. It may happen one life, second life, even in 50th life. All this is possible. So therefore, it is told that karmana gahana gati. And that is the reason why, again, uh, karmani eva badhikaraste ma phalesu kadachana. Because the gati of karma is gahana, or it is so difficult to understand. So therefore, we cannot say that we have a right. I mean, that I think gels, the logic gels there. So 4.16 and 4.17, in Krishna consciousness, one has to follow the leadership of authorized persons, the disciplic succession like Brahma, Shiva, Narada, Manu, Kumaras, Kapila, Prahlada, Bhishma, Sukadeva, Goswami, Yamaraj, all they are Mahajanas. Bali Maharaj without mental speculation. So all of them are not only Mahajanas, they are also part of the parampara. The system of Krishna consciousness was first narrated to Sun God, that we've seen 120 million years ago. Then he, gave it to Manu. Manu is the father of mankind, and then Manu gave it to Ikshaku. And after that, it got lost. But that is how it has come to earth. Now, Lord decided to instruct Arjuna about Krishna consciousness directly. Because of this direct instruction of Lord to Arjuna, anyone who follows the footsteps of Arjuna is certainly not get bewildered. So, what are these footsteps of Arjuna? What, in fact, Krishna says about Arjuna? Sakheti, and Sakheti is friend, and Bhaktosi. Bhaktosi Saketi. These are the two things then he has also accepted Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So there's a complete acceptance. Param Brahma Param Dhama Pavitram Paramam Bhavan. He was so excited and he has accepted him. And that is uh, the only qualification to get the knowledge and from the Guru. Only action performed in Krishna consciousness can deliver a person from the entanglement of material existence. There is no other way. There is no other way. There is no other way. In Kali Yoga also, there is no other way of said. If one is serious about liberation from material bondage, one has to understand the distinction between these three that we talked about: karma, akarma, and vikarma, action, inaction, and unauthorized action. To understand Krishna consciousness, one has to perform actions knowing his relationship. And what is that relationship? As the permanent servitor or eternal servitor of Krishna. That is our relationship. Unless that understanding is there, then anything that we're doing without that understanding, or anyone who is doing without that understanding, is actually doing a vikarma. So now there is a little change in understanding where we have been thinking that only terrorism and all this, what those are ugra karma, not vikarmas. And so these are the examples. Or bikarmis, we can say they don't follow the Vedas, the risk that they go to the degraded life. We can see that they're not following the regulative principles, indiscriminate eating, killing other life to for just for the taste bud. So all that is absolute bikarmis faith. And karmis keep on doing and endeavoring continuously, although they follow the Vedas and do certain pious activities many times. So they attend Swarga, they attend certain good higher planets, enjoy, and then again come back. So when we say Swarga, it is Swarga itself in the sense that the plane which is there, Bhurlaka, Bhuvalaka, Swargalaka, Mahalaka, Tapalaka, Janalaka. So that it may indicate that planet, or it may also indicate the some kind of opulence uh, someone is getting, and some kind of opulence is getting even while in Earth for some time, very temporarily. Like Suchinam Simratam Gehevanesi. So when somebody is born in a mercantile family or good family, then he's not struggling for the bread and butter, because his ecosystem has been made in such a way, because he has done some job. Swalpamapyasta dharma shatraya samatu bhayat, and uh, pratyavayana vidyate, so that therefore he is taking birth, so he can enjoy for some time. So have come to, and what about Akarmis? The best example is Narada Muni. And Narada Muni's story is so beautiful, which is explained in Bhagavatam. I'm not going to the detail of the story, but then when he was a child, then his mother actually was working as a maid servant in an ashram where Siddha yogis and Brahmanas were there, and he was, having an opportunity to get the remnants of the food and association of great devotees. And because of that, he developed taste for Narayana and Vishnu. And after that, in that childhood, he could go to the jungle and then meditated on Narayana and Vishnu. He got a glimpse, and Vishnu said that, okay, in this life you may not get me, but however, in the next life you will become my permanent associate. And thereby Narada always visits all the planets. And what is his main aim? What his only main aim is to distribute Krishna consciousness to everyone. Hare Krishna. So कर्मणि अकर्म यः पश्येत अकर्मणि च कर्म यः स बुद्धिनां मानुष्येषु स बुद्धिमान् मानुष्येषु स युक्तः कृत्स्न कर्मकृत्. one who sees in one who sees inaction in action and action in inaction is intelligent among men, and he is in the transcendental position, although engaged in all sorts of activities. So it looks like some kind of uh, oxymoron, inaction in action, action in action. There is no confusion. The next slide absolutely clarifies the confusion. So Krishna conscious person is intelligent as though he is engaged in all sorts of activities. He does not enjoy or suffer any the effects of the work. Why? Because once one who is in KC or Krishna consciousness is free from bonds of karma, as well as his activities are performed for Krishna, because he's not doing anything for himself. He's doing everything for Krishna. He's pleasing the sense of Krishna. And what is the other name of Krishna? Where we when we say that we're pleasing the sense of Krishna, there is a name of Krishna with respect to the senses. And what is that name? Hare Krishna. What is the name? Hare Krishna. Am I audible?
Yes, Prabhuji.
What is his name with respect to senses? He's supposed to be the master of senses. So what is that name?
Rishikesha.
Rishikesha. And what is bhakti defined as? Risikena, Risikesa Sevanam. Bhakti Ruchyate. So through Risika is sense. So by Risika, that is Risikena, Risikesa Sevanam. So through our senses, you are trying to please the senses of Krishna. That is called bhakti. Sarvapadi vinirmuktam tat paratvena nirmalam. Sarvavyadhi vinirmuktam tat paratvena nirmalam. Rishikena Rishikesa sevanam bhakti ruchyate. That is the definition of bhakti. So the impersonalist ceases fruitive activities out of fear so that the resultant action may not be stumbling block on the path of self-realization. Very simple. And the personalist, like the Mayavadis, sorry, I mean, the opposite of the Mayavadis, aware, the devotees, they're aware that he is the eternal survivor of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, engages himself in Krishna conscious activities. As everything is done for Krishna, he enjoys transcendental happiness in doing his service. He is immune to all reaction. That is the reason he is immune to all reactions, because reaction will come only when there is attachment. There is no attachment, there is nothing for him. Everything is in the Yukta Vairagya. So, like what we're doing now, we're using the laptop, but we're not using laptop for seeing some movie or something. We're using it for distributing Krishna consciousness. So now this has become spiritual. So now the uncovering of this seemingly confusing statement like action in inaction and inaction in action is action in inaction is primarily spirituality. One is supposed to be doing nothing. Means what? Means he is a Krishna conscious person and he is doing everything. However, he's not doing anything because there is no reaction. So therefore, it is something like action in inaction. Just the opposite, that is inaction in action, is all the karmis who are continuously doing something, but not towards Krishna consciousness. So therefore, it is an action, but it's something like inaction. So that's how beautifully it has been said. Yassa sarve samarambhaha kama sankalpa varjitaha ज्ञानाग्नि दग्ध कर्मणाम tam ahu panditam buddha. One is understood to be in full knowledge, whose every endeavor is devoid of desire for sense gratification. He is said by sages to be a worker for whom the reactions of work have been burned up by the fire of perfect knowledge. Because he is in perfect knowledge, and that is what is called Buddhi Yoga. Because of that, the reactions are by default, the reactions get burned. And how to be in knowledge? Being in Krishna consciousness itself is called to be in knowledge. Now, tyaktva karma phala sangam nitya tripta nirashrayah karmani karmani abhiprattopi naiva kaschit karoti saha naiva kinchit karoti saha. Why? Because he is tyaktva karma phala sangha. Because what he is doing, the phala sangha or the results which are coming from the activities, he is abandoning that. So that is called Tyaktva Karma Phalasanga. And Nitya Tripta Nirasraya. And he is ever satisfied and independent. Nir Asraya. And he performs no fruitive action, although engaged in all kinds of undertaking. Reaction of Krishna conscious person's work are burned by his perfect knowledge. We've just understood this. This knowledge is compared to fire that burns up all kinds of reaction to work. What is this fire? This fire of the knowledge. Like we use the X of detachment to cut the branches Which branch? The inverted trees branch. Similarly, now it is another simile which says that the knowledge is used like a fire which burns all the reactions. He's rid of sense gratificatory propensities. This freedom from the bondage of actions is possible only in Krishna consciousness, where he has no attraction for the results of the action. So, because there is no attraction, why there is no attraction? Because there is no expectation. Because I am doing, he's thinking I am doing everything for Krishna. So I do not expect anything out of it. There is no expectation, so there is no attraction. There is no attraction, there is no attachment. There is no attachment, there is no reaction. For personal maintenance too, he surrenders to Krishna. He is neither interested to secure things nor to protect things he already has, does his duty to the best of his ability, and leaves everything to Krishna. Such an unattached person is always free from the result of reactions of good and bad, as though he was not doing anything. It is something like inaction. However, it is action in inaction. This is a sign of akarma or actions without fruitive reactions. Okay. निराशीर्यत चीतात्मा त्यक्ता सर्व परिग्रहः शरीरं केवलं कर्म कुर्वन्नाप्नोति किल्बिषम्. Such a man of understanding acts with mind and intelligence, perfectly controlled, gives up all sense of proprietorship over his possessions and acts only for the bare necessities of the life, thus working is not affected by sinful reactions. We can see all the Goswamis, we can see six Goswamis here. And what we are called? We are called Rupa Nugas, means we are basically following the path of Rupa Goswami. They are absolutely detached and all the time they are into thinking about the pastimes. Wherever they go, they think about the pastimes of the Lord. And that is what is the final thing. In Bhagavatam also, if you read, ultimate aim is to be thinking about Lord and his pastimes. So now we are studying Gita. It doesn't mean that we'll keep on just studying Gita. The ultimate of Bhagavad Gita has to be understood to understand Krishna and his pastimes. Once we understand that, then in fact studying Gita may not be required. But as of now, we are building that faith in Krishna. Who is Krishna? And after that, about Krishna. But about Krishna is more important. So, yadrachalabha santushto द्वन्द्वत्ति द्वन्द्वातीत विमाश्रयः समः सिद्धौ असिद्धौ च तोपि न निबध्यते. He who is satisfied with gain which comes out of its own accord, who is free from duality and does not envy, who is steady in both success and failure, is never entangled all the performing actions. Who is steady in both success as well as in failure. Sitoshna sukha dukkada, also he's saying. So, matra sporsha sukonteyo, sitoshna sukha dukkada, agama paina anityastan titikshasva Arjuna. There he's saying that please tolerate this, you know, winter and summer. So here it is saying that, in fact, the person who is in Krishna consciousness, he by default he comes to a stage where this doesn't matter. Hare Krishna. So a Krishna conscious person doesn't expect good or bad result in his activities. His mind and intents are fully controlled. How it is controlled? He is not forcefully controlling it. What he is doing is only he is diverting all the inner forces, like whatever is there. Let's say there is a force of taste, there is a force of smell, there is a force of eyes, there is a force of touch. All these forces, Begum, right? In Sanskrit, it is called Begum. So Jivha Begum, Mano Begum, all that various kind of Vegas he's controlling, not controlling, he's diverting for pleasing Krishna. He knows that because he is part and parcel of Supreme, the part played by him and the part and parcel of the whole is not his own activity, but is only being done through him by Supreme. That is his position, his thinking. It is not done by him, it is done by Supreme. When the hand moves, it doesn't move out of its own accord, but by the endeavor of the whole body. A Krishna conscious person is always dovetailed with the supreme desire for he has no desire for personal sense gratification. All this has to immerse into level 2 slowly and steadily, ladder by ladder, step by step, so that first of all there is a minimum requirement of chanting for one round. So you have to increase that slowly. That is first part. Then slowly understanding everything that is being talked about, and then only we can move forward in our journey. And the whole purpose of all this is just to make us more and more Krishna conscious. He moves exactly like a part of a machine. As a machine part requires oiling and cleaning, we do that for our cars, for our bikes, right? So a Krishna conscious man maintains himself by his work just to remain fit for action in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. So he's remaining fit even if he's going to, let's say, he's doing some yoga, or supposing he's doing going to gym, or running, or whatever he's doing, but in his mind he's thinking what? His thought is that I am doing all this because I'll remain fit, and with that fitness I'll serve Krishna. His thought is ultimately ending with Krishna. He is therefore immune to all the reactions of his endeavors. Like an animal, he has no proprietorship even over his own body. A cruel proprietor of an animal sometimes kills the animal in his possession, yet the animal doesn't protest, nor does it have any real independence. For maintaining body and soul, he does not require unfair means of accumulating money. He does not, therefore, become contaminated by such material sins. He is free from all reactions. So 4.22 takes about he is satisfied with gains which are obtained of his own accord. A Krishna conscious person doesn't make much endeavor. He is not a karmi, so definitely he is not making an endeavor. He is making endeavor only to maintain his body and the minimum which is required, and rest of the time he is giving his time to Krishna. So it's not that he's begging or borrowing. He's satisfied. He's neither begs nor borrows, and is satisfied with whatever is obtained with his honest labor. Therefore, he is independent in his livelihood. He doesn't. So therefore, you find so many grihastas, 90, maybe nine. I don't know how many percentage. Maybe 95% or maybe 98% are grihastas in ISKCON, and they're all perfect, doing, uh, trying. Many of them are perfect yukta bairagis, we can say. So he does not get affected by anyone's intrusion in his own service, and Krishna consciousness doesn't allow any duality of the material world like heat and cold, which he talked about. It study both in success and in failure. These signs are visible when one is fully transcendental knowledge. Sometimes it feels like these are some, just easier to say than done. But Prabhupada says, therefore, he says that bhakti is a devotional service. So once we do it continuously in the service, then all this emanifications will take place. So it doesn't just remain as just the words. It will be a reality in life. Gata sangyasya muktasya ज्ञानवास्थित चेतसः ज्ञानायाचरतः कर्म समग्रं प्रविलीयते. The work of a man who is unattached to the modes of material nature and who is fully situated in the transcendental knowledge merges entirely into transcendence. We see here our Goswamis who are fully absorbed in the Krishna Leelas, and they are, and not only they are absorbed, they have read all the scriptures, they have all the knowledge, and their only purpose is to transmit the knowledge, and thereby we get the knowledge through the parampara. So Brahmarpanam Brahma Havir Brahmanahutam Brahmanata Brahma Havir Brahmagno Brahmanahrutam Brahmaiva Tena Gantavyam Brahma Karma Samadhina. A person who is fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness is sure to attain the spiritual kingdom because of his full contribution to the spiritual activities, in which the consummation is absolute and that which is offered is of the same spiritual nature. What does it mean? So, whatever they're offering, let's say we're saying Patram Puspam Phalam Toyam Eme Bhakta Prachiti, we're saying. So when we are offering, that offer itself is spiritual. So we are offering to the spiritual, and whatever we're offering is also already spiritual. That that is what it is. The meaning is. Anything in the chart? Hare Krishna. Mataji, anything in the chat? I'm not able to see. Purnalila Mataji, anything in the chat? Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, am I audible? Hare Krishna, am I audible?
Yeah, Prabhuji, you
Yes,
are audible,
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji.
Nothing
Hare
in the
Krishna.
chat. Nothing in the chat.
Okay, Hare Krishna. Okay. So now we'll from 23 to 24, it is basically on the what are the various sacrifices. We know in the Kali Yuga, the only sacrifice, the only yajna is the japa or chanting. So there are different sacrifices were there in different yugas. We know that in Satya Yoga it was meditation, then in Treta it was temple worship, then it was the fire sacrifice, and then in this yuga it is chanting. But Krishna will talk about all the different kind of sacrifices, but ultimately we'll also know that all these sacrifices is not going to give the result unless these sacrifices only will do the purification, not land us on the platform of Krishna consciousness, all the physical sacrifices. So such a person is said to be Krishna conscious, is freed from all dualities, knowing his constitutional relations with Krishna. Whatever he does for Krishna. All his work technically becomes sacrifice, as every sacrifice is satisfying only Krishna. The resultant reactions to all such works certainly merge into transcendental or revelation. So sacrifice of yugas we know. Uh, my Acha, it got a little hang, sorry. So a conditioned soul entangled in material contamination can get out of the material atmosphere only through Krishna consciousness. A patient suffering from overintelligence in milk products is cured by another milk product. So this is what is the simile? The simile is that a conditioned soul engaged in material contamination can get out of the material atmosphere only through Krishna consciousness. So similarly, Brahman means spiritual. Brahma Jyoti is Lord's spiritual effulgence. And when Jyoti is covered by the illusion that is Maya, that is primarily the Mahamaya or sense gratification, it is called material. This material veil can be removed at once by Krishna consciousness. It's the same example where the same milk product can be used to cure. The mind fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness, it is said to be in Samadhi trance. That is the Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, and the eighth stage. And anything done in such transcendence is called Yajna or sacrifice for the absolute. So, which are not sacrifices, working on one's own account and working on God's account. We can start with Arjuna. Arjuna, if when Krishna says that Nimitta Matra Bhavasabhya Sachi, you become my instrument, then Arjuna is fighting for Dharma Yuddha on behalf of Krishna. Then it is Krishna consciousness. However, Duryodhana is fighting for his own selfish plan. Similar thing happens in all our daily lives as well. One example is cashier who receives a lot of cash on behalf of the bank. But the moment he takes the same cash for his own benefit, then he's arrested. Similar thing happens to the army officer. He is given all Padma Vibhushana and all those various kind of medals once in his particular dress and particular swadharma. Then that is called, yes, that is to be rewarded. But if he comes back and comes back home and in his normal dress as a normal citizen and he kills with the same gun, then he's arrested. So similarly, if we are doing the job of Krishna, then there is no sin. Therefore, Krishna in second chapter itself, he was saying and clarifying that if you are not doing your swadharma, then you will incur sin. So please do my as per my instruction. So what is in this instruction? Manvana bhava mat bhakto mat yaji mam namaskuru. That is his instruction, right? Sacrifices lead to transcendental knowledge. So fruit of all kinds of Vedic sacrifices is transcendental knowledge. This leads to liberation and ultimately to pure devotional service. So there are various kinds of sacrifices which now is enumerated here. Some demigod or worship, many people do sacrifice into Brahman, hearing process. Then there are Ashtanga Yoga. In fact, if you start the Patanjali Yoga Sutra, what is the first line in Patanjali Yoga Sutra? Anyone knows? Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Am I audible? Hare Krishna. Am I audible? Am I audible, Mataji, Prabhuji?
Yes, Prabhuji, you're
Yes.
audible.
So anyone remembers or knows that what is the first line of Patanjali's Yoga Sutra? Okay, I'll tell. This is Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha. This is the first line. When he's defining yoga as Chitta Vritti Nirodha, it is basically the blocking of Chitta and Vritti. Chitta is the mind and Vritti is its activities, the various sense engagements. So what is the goal? Ultimate goal is to merge into the existence of the absolute. So people do many things. They do some charity, do charitable institution, old age homes, all that. These are part of uh, yajna or sacrifice, we can say. Some kind of austerity is also an yajna. Tapoma, that is called tapomaya yajna. Like all the ekadasi you are doing, or chaturmasya, chandrayana, yoga yajna. All these are tapas, sacrificing for a certain perfection in the material world. Then Patanjali system we talked about, Hatha Yoga, Stanga Yoga, and pilgrimage to holy places, study of pictures, Swadhyaya Yajna. All these are even study of scriptures is also a sacrifice, which is called a Swadhyaya Yajna. All these are part of Yajna, no doubt. But why then Yajnanam Japa Yogyasmi Jagas is coming. Yajnanam Japa Yagyosmi. All these are sacrifices. There are nine, Hatha Yoga. Yeah, there are 10 list in the 10. But nowhere chanting is coming. Whereas Krishna is saying that that is the best. Because all this will maximum do a purificatory process and maximum go to a level where we can actually go to the Krishna consciousness. It cannot directly take anyone to the platform of Krishna consciousness. So Daivam eva pariyagyam yoginaha paryupasate brahmagnau apariyagyam yajnaneva upajuihati. Some yogis perfectly worship the demigods by offering different sacrifices to them, and some offer sacrifices in the fire of the Supreme Brahman. Sacrifice means to satisfy the Supreme Lord, Vishnu, who is also known as Yajna. So we know that. Bhuktaram Yajna Tapasa Sarva Loko Maheswaram Suhrudam Sarvabhutanam Gyatva Mam Shantir Mruchati. That was the peace formula. All the different varieties of sacrifice can be placed within two primary divisions, namely, so there are two. What are the two? One is sacrifice for worldly possessions, like we said, no, somebody is giving some clothes, some all those things, some worldly possessions, and sacrifice in pursuit of transcendental knowledge. But out of these two, Krishna is saying the second is the best. And others who are impersonalists sacrifice their identity by merging into the existence of the impersonal Brahman. The demigods are powerful living entities appointed by the Supreme Lord for maintenance, that we have understood. But Krishna is making clear one thing is that Jnana Yajna is better than the Dravya Yajna. So, this we have understood. So, sacrifice means to satisfy the Supreme Lord Vishnu, who is also known as Yajna. Sacrifice can be placed within two primary divisions, namely sacrifice of worldly possessions, like somebody is giving his money or his house or hospital or whatever, and sacrifice in pursuit of transcendental knowledge. So somebody who's giving transcendental knowledge, that's the biggest kind of sacrifice. Those who are in Krishna consciousness sacrifice all material possession for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord. Those who want some temporary material happiness sacrifice their material possessions to satisfy demigods, such as Indra, Varuna, etc. Impersonalists sacrifice their identity by merging into the existence of the impersonal Brahman, because they are afraid. They're afraid that person, the moment the personality or individuality remains, then that becomes the problem. That is the understanding of the impersonalists, because and therefore they worship Brahman and they try to merge, and they enjoy certain kind of bliss which is called Brahmanand, but they cannot get the Sevananda, which is a continuous activity. So they are devoid of activity. The demigods are powerful living entities, that we understand. Okay, and this, in any case, we have understood this in various ways. But there is a picture we can again look at it. Primarily, again, it is saying that there are two kinds of sacrifices. On the left hand side, one can be worldly possession, other can be purely pursuit of transcendental knowledge. And what happens, what impersonalists do, they sacrifice to the Brahman. They regard forms of demigods as temporary. All this they do. Finally they look for the samadhi and sayujya mukti. But Krishna conscious devotee, he sacrifices all material possession and own self for Krishna satisfaction. Everything he's doing for Krishna. And sacrifice means what? He's primarily not expecting anything in return. So this is the loop. This is the material loop. What happens? So there is a material existence, then there is ignorance. What is the ignorance? Ignorance is that I am the body, I am not the soul. That is the ignorance or avidya. The moment this understanding comes that I am not the body, I am not the mind, I am not the intelligence, I am the soul, then this avidya will go off. Then this sinful life will not come, and therefore this cycle will also break. So there is there is a small katha in you know in Purana, is that when Lord Brahma, he's the first, he's the secondary creator. So when Brahma came out from the navel of Vishnu, then he, such a vast expanse, he could not understand. I mean, where from he came, who else is there. So he was trying to find out what to do. He was absolutely overwhelmed. And then this one sound came, just two letters, ta and pa. That is ta pa. So then he meditated, and he meditated for so many years. And after that, he could have the glimpse of Narayana. What about us? Brahma has to take so much of years. Now we are chanting just one mala in level 2, or maybe 16 malas in Bhakti Sastri. So what? That is also so less. All sacrifices, I mean, in terms of sacrifice, all sacrifices must be performed with the knowledge of their purpose and goal. And what is the goal? Goal is to reach Krishna and his abode. So, Sotradin Indriyani Anye Samyam Magnisu Juhati Sabdadin Vishayan Anya Indriyagnisu Juhati. Some, the unadulterated brahmacharis, sacrifice the hearing process and the senses in the fire of mental control, and others, the regulated householders, sacrifice the objects of the senses in the fire of the senses. So when we say objects of the senses, and then we say the hearing process. So basically, uh, brahmacharis are always into Sravanam, Kirtanam. So that is their sacrifice. So process of sacrifice. And here, in case of Gruhis, what happens? They use the sense objects for the purpose of Krishna. So because they are using the objects itself for the pleasing of Krishna, so therefore that is called that they are sacrificing the objects of the senses for the sense of the Krishna. So the member of the four divisions of human life, namely the brahmachari, the grahastha, the vanaprastha, and the sannyasi, are all meant to become perfect yogis or transcendentalists. All. And all means not one by one, at each level. So brahmachari can become a transcendentalist when he is a brahmachari. At grahastha, if he is not, then in grahastha also he can become. At any stage, he can be a transcendentalist. Since human life is not meant for our enjoying sense gratification like the animals, the four orders of human life are so arranged that one may become perfect in spiritual life. So primarily it becomes a platform. So the brahmachari students under the care of the bona fide spiritual master, which is most important. Bona fide spiritual master who has to come from the parampara. Unless we take this knowledge from the bona fide parampara, then in any case we'll be swayed away with some kind of mental concoction or some kind of, you can say, mental speculation. So a brahmachari hears only words concerning Krishna consciousness, and therefore the pure brahmachari engages fully in Harer Namanu Kirtanam, chanting and hearing the glories of the Lord. He restrains himself from the vibrations of material sounds. Means, you know, if you ask him what is C major, what is C minus, all this he will not be able to understand. And his hearing is engaged in the transcendental sound vibration of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Similarly, the grihastha and householders who have some license for sense gratification perform such acts with great restraint. Marriage on the principles of religious life is therefore current in all civilized human society because that is the way for restricted sex life. This is also a kind of yajna because the restricted householder sacrifices his general tendency towards sense gratification for higher transcendental life. So he's also sacrificing because he is not engaging unnecessarily uh, in any of the sense enjoyments. So he's restricting his sex life also for producing Krishna conscious children, not for anything else. So सर्व इंद्रिय कर्माणि प्राण कर्माणि चापरे आत्म संयम्य योग योगाग्नौ जुहोति ज्ञान दीप्ते जुहोति ज्ञान दीपिते. Others who are interested in achieving self-realizing through control of the mind and senses offer the functions of all senses and of the life breath. So this is basically the Ashtanga yogis because they are using the pranayama. So in Yoga Sutra, we know about Patanjali where there are two important concepts in Patanjali Yoga. One they call Pratyaga Atma and other they call Paraga Atma. So Pratyaga Atma and Paraga Atma. So as long as the soul is attached to the sense enjoyment, that he is called a Paraga Atma. And the moment he is not attached means Niskama Karma or Akarma. At that point of time, soul is called Pratyagatma. That is the Patanjali system. Okay. We don't need that because Krishna consciousness is a absolutely the last level. So according to the yoga system, Pratyagatma is the ultimate goal. The Pratyagatma is withdrawn from activities in matter. The senses interact with the sense objects like the ear for hearing, eyes for seeing. All these various kind of things are basically withdrawn. So therefore, dhyana, dharana, pratyahara is there. So where they're complete, pratyahara from the senses, and they are called the functions of the pranavayu. Enlightenment in engaging this knowledge in searching of the self-realization. This is what happens to the Ashtanga yogis. But is that all required? That also Krishna will clarify it. Then there is another kind of sacrifices, like Dravya Yajna is there, then Japo, some Dravya Yajna is there, and some Swadhyaya Yajna that we talked about, right? Okay. Some persons sacrifice their possessions. All this we've just talked about. Chandrayana and all that. Okay. So, and now about the various airs. Like there are five airs that we are prana, apana, vyana, all various kinds of air. So apana juhati pranam, prane apana tatha pare, prana apana gatirutva, pranayama parayanaha apare niyata haraha, pranan prane sujuhati. So this is also this process of inhaling, then blocking, and then exhaling, and again inhaling, blocking, and exhaling. This process, the entire process in which the Astanga yogi do the pranayama, control of the life air, that is also part of the sacrifice. This system of yoga for controlling the breathing process is called pranayama. All these processes are recommended for controlling the senses and for advancements. All this process, see, I think this is the whole point, that all this process are finally controlling the senses and for advancement in spiritual realization, not the realization itself, but advancement in spiritual realization. So therefore, Krishna says and Arjuna says, no, I don't think I cannot, my mind is so agitating. So I cannot go to forest. I cannot control it. So it is better that, so therefore it is recommended in Kali Yoga that let us do the chanting, which is the easiest. Sarvapyete yajna vido yajnakshapi pita kalmashaha yajnasista mrto bhujo yanti brahma sanatanam. All these performers means who? All these meditators and so many people that we talked about, who know the meaning of the sacrifice, become cleansed of sinful reactions, and having tasted the nectar of the results of sacrifices, they advance toward the supreme eternal atmosphere. So we understood here what happens. By all this, they are having a test. So they come to a platform, they're getting cleansed, means they get purified, and thereby they become eligible to come to Krishna consciousness. So these are all making the eligibility. A person who has come to the fold of Krishna consciousness with chanting every day and Sravanam Kirtanam and the Nabada Bhakti and the process that Prabhupada has already given from 4:30 onwards for the entire day, that is the last level. From the foregoing explanation of different types of sacrifice, namely sacrifice of one's possessions and all that, also one type of sacrifices, sense gratification is the root cause of material existence. This is most important. Logically, if sense gratification is the only root cause of the existence, existence would not have been there if no one, if you find no living entity, means 84 lakhs of species, we're saying, not only human. If no species is gratifying his sense, then existence will absolutely stop. And therefore, unless and until one is situated on a platform apart from the sense gratification, there is no chance of being elevated to the eternal platform of full knowledge. So if you are, so if you want to get out of the existence, then this is the only process. एवं बहुविधा यज्ञा वितता ब्रह्मणो मुखे कर्म कर्मजान्य विद्धि तान सर्वान्नेव ज्ञात्वा विमोक्षसे. All these different types of sacrifice are approved by the Vedas, and all of them are born of different types of work. Knowing them as such, you will become liberated. Then 4.30, all these performers who know the meaning of sacrifice become cleansed of sinful reactions, and having tasted the nectar of the results of the sacrifices, they advance toward the supreme eternal atmosphere. Again, they advance. We see here. We see here that various kinds of yogis, and also we see our devotees. We see how this the ISKCON devotees and who are doing in the Krishna consciousness, they are having their families, they're enjoying. So now Krishna is saying, oh, best of Kuru dynasty, without sacrifice, one can never live happily on this planet in this life. What then of the next? Forget about next life. In this life also, one cannot live. So therefore, fight. Because for you, fight is sacrifice. That is a Swadharma. All these different types of sacrifice are approved by the Vedas. We just understood that. Then Shreyan Drabya Mayad Shreyan Drabya Mayad Yagnat Yagya Yagnaha Parantapa Sarvam Karmakhilam Partha Jnane Parisamapayet. O Chastajar of Dhanmi, the sacrifice performed in knowledge is better than the mere sacrifice of material possessions. After all, O son of Partha, all sacrifice of work can culminate in transcendental knowledge. So Krishna is clarifying fully that sacrifice in knowledge is the best, and of course much better than the material sacrifices. Real knowledge culminates in Krishna consciousness, the highest stage of transcendental knowledge. So which we therefore we compare it to the lift. You directly come here. Shreyan, acha, this we talked. So now 3.4 to 4.2. This is the conclusion of the chapter. So there are five important points: how to achieve transcendental knowledge. That is, what should the disposition, what should be the mental state in which one should receive. Then the fruit of transcendental knowledge, what it gives, and who can successfully achieve transcendental knowledge. So what are the qualifications? And four, the symptoms of one who has successfully applied. So we see what are the various traits already available in the great devotees. That also is there. And then transcendental knowledge to work. And finally, the conclusion. So this is how we get the transcendental knowledge. That's it. Tad viddhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya उपदिक्षन्ति ते ज्ञानम् ज्ञानिनस्तत्त्वदर्शिनः. So tad viddhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. So with humility, the spiritual master has to be approached with complete humbleness and inquire from him very, very submissively and render service unto him. And in that process only the knowledge will come. The self-realized souls can impart knowledge unto you because they have seen the truth. We can see here Balarama and Krishna. We can see here they one so supreme personal Godhead. He doesn't require. He's a Vedanta Krut Veda. So he has in fact written the Vedas. Now he's under his Guru Sandipani Maharaj because he want to demonstrate that every person needs a Guru. Without Guru, spiritual journey is not possible. That is what Krishna and Balaram both are demonstrating. So yagyatva na punarmoham evam yasyasi pandava yena bhutani aseshani dakshasya atmani athomayi. Having obtained real knowledge from a self-realized soul, you will never fall again into such illusion. So this is important. The knowledge has to come from the self-realized soul. So here, of course, Krishna is giving. But in our parampara, if you say anyone who is there in the parampara from Brahma to Narada to uh, the whole disciplic succession, Bhakti Vinod Thakur to up to our founder Acharya, everybody is a realized soul. And whatever you are discussing as of now, we are simply trying to just transmit whatever has been written in the purport. So we are not even trying to add one line or deduct one line from the purport of Gita as it is. For by this knowledge, you will see that all living beings are but part of part and parcel of the Supreme. Api chedasi papebhyo sarvebhyo papakrittamah sarvam jnana plavanaiva vrijinam santarishashi. Even if you are considered to be the most sinful of all sinners, that's very interesting. Even if you are considered to be the most sinful of the sinners, that means this is that like Krishna is the highest of the highest. Nobody is above him, nobody is equal to him. Similarly, this person, sin wise, nobody is above him, nobody is equal to him. The sinner of the sinful. When you are situated in the boat of transcendental knowledge, you will be able to cross all over the ocean of the miseries. So, what a beautiful guarantee here. We may be doing some, see, in any case, all of us are doing some or other sins every day. And we always think that what will happen? Can I get liberation in this life? What will happen to my next life if so I'm not chanting properly. There are 10 offenses which are there while chanting. So what will happen? All these thoughts come to us. Once we come to Krishna consciousness, then all these thoughts also come to us at the same time. That what happens if all my sins are not vanquished? Krishna says that Aham sarva papeva mokshashami ma suchaha. But then he is also giving a condition. And what is that condition? Surrender unto me. And if we know very well that what is the degree of surrender, only we know, because I mean no one knows better than what we know about ourselves. So that surrendering process, if it is not perfect, then we are also sort of concerned that what will happen. But here is a guarantee. Even for the most sinful of the all sinners, when you are situated in the boat of transcendental knowledge, you will be able to cross over the ocean of miseries. So there is a guarantee. So nothing to worry. Krishna is saying, Masucha. He's using this word Masucha. यथेदांसि समिद्धुग्निर्भस्मसात् कुरुते अर्जुन ज्ञानाग्निर्सर्वकर्माणि भस्मासुत् कुरुते तथा. As a blazing fire turns firewood to ashes, O Arjuna, so does the fire knowledge burn to ashes all reactions to material activities. Nahi jnanena sadrusham pavitram iha vidyate tat swayam yoga samsiddhaha Kalenatmani Vindati. In this world, there is nothing so sublime and pure as transcendental knowledge. There is nothing. And such knowledge is the material and mature fruit of all mysticism. Sarvo Upanishad Gava Dugdha Gopalanandana Partha Vatsa Sudhir Bhukta Dugdham Gita Mrutam Mahat. That is the mature fruit. And one who has become accomplished in the practice of devotional service enjoys this knowledge within the himself. So finally, it comes to the platform of devotional service. The moment we are doing our daily chanting, we are reading scriptures, we are reading in a level two, we are supposed to read every day, at least give 1 hour to the purports of association of Prabhupada. The association of Prabhupada will come only when we read his purports, because he said that I'll never die, I'll be in my books. And once you read the Leelamrita, whoever reads Leelamrita, he cannot, hold his tears. What kind of what kind of person and devotee Prabhupada was? What kind of sacrifice he did? Rewards of transcendental knowledge obtained from spiritual master. So we'll obtain knowledge and realization that all living entities are a part of Brahman. We'll cross over the ocean that we just talked about by knowledge of self and super soul. It is Atma and Paramatma. This relationship he will understand, and therefore, because of the understanding, he will get out of the reaction. So every time Krishna says that, if you know, Janma Karma Cha Me Divyam, if you know, then you will not again come back. You will come back to me. So achieve self-realization as the mature fruit of all mysticism and finally gets devotional service. Shraddha labhate jnanam tatparah samatendriyah jnanam labdhva param shantim achirena adhigacchati jnana labdhva param shantim. Absolute peace he gets achirena. By what? A faithful man who is dedicated to transcendental knowledge and who subdues his senses is eligible to achieve such knowledge, and having achieved it, he quickly attains the supreme spiritual peace. So, this is a peace formula, and we also have the other one which we talked about. Then, Agyas Shraddha अज्ञस्य श्रद्धाधानश्च संशयात्मा विनश्यति नायं लोकस्ति न परो न सुखं संशयात्मनः. But ignorant and faithless persons who doubt the revealed scriptures do not attain God. So these are what? Demoniac people, because they are faithless and they fall down. For the doubting soul, there is happiness neither in this world nor in the next. Even in Bible, there is something called a doubting Thomas. O Bharata, now stand and fight. No simple reaction can affect one who performs his duties with transcendental knowledge. Now that Krishna is giving, now Arjuna, had asked about so many reasons not to fight. There is a compassion, there is a family tradition, there is sinful reaction, and so on. Enjoyment, no enjoyment, indecision. Now all his doubts are over. So who can achieve this transcendental knowledge? One who has faith and one who is free from doubts. Now Arjuna is out of doubts. Yoga sanyasta karmanam jnana sanchina samsayam atmavantam na karmani nibatnati dhananjaya. One who acts in devotional service, renouncing the fruits of his actions, and whose doubts have been destroyed by transcendental knowledge, each situated factually in the self. Thus, he is not bound by the reactions of work, O conqueror of enemy, Dhananjaya. Tasmat ajnana sambhutam hritstam jnana sita sinatmanaha chitvenam samsayam yogam tishto bharata. Therefore, the doubts which have arisen in your heart out of ignorance should be slashed by the weapon of knowledge armed with yoga. Now, Arjuna is saying that my doubts are over. And this is a summary of the chapter. Knowledge about Krishna, transcendental knowledge, evam paramparam praptam, rajarshayo viduhu, how it is coming from sun god to Manu to Ikshaku. Then section 3, we talked about Krishna as a goal of all paths, whether and all varnas. So whether Ashtanga yogis or karmis or whoever is there. And ye yatha mam prapadante, ye yatha mam prapadyante tam tathaiva bhajamyaham. Whoever wants in whichever way. So for gopis, he's the best lover. For the demons, he's the death personified. All this we have understood, right? Karma yoga then. Karmano hi api bodhabhyam. So karma, vikarma, karma we understood. Then sacrifices lead to transcendental knowledge. Jnana yajnaha parantapa. Sacrifice is, that means that not the sacrifice of transcendental knowledge or sacrifice in knowledge or of knowledge is better than the sacrifice of the material things. And the final one is a summary of transcendental knowledge, that be the how to receive it. Submissively inquiring, we have to receive it. Hare Krishna. So I stop here. Hare Krishna. I just want to go there. How do I go there? The screen has to be. Where is it? Stop sharing, I think. Yeah.